True. True. Oh my God. That's like on the podcast so far, we have tackled like a different concept, a different idea every time. And it's gone like really far afield, and we keep coming up with new ideas because like what we keep discovering is that like, okay, so we'll do, did one on periods. Okay, we figured out how periods are tied to colonization in the dominant culture. Okay, so now we're going to talk about polyamory and relationship models. Okay, figure that one out. But every time we're talking about something, we come up with a new topic that is also tied up, like you said, in like all those dendrites that go back up to like the, I don't know, the colonization mothership or whatever, whatever we're tracing it back to. And like each one of them, we can get a whole episode out of because everything, like you said, is so tied together in this net that we're all living in without realizing we've been living our lives under a net the whole time.
Yeah. Right. Right.
So what I want to talk to you about your thoughts on sex work and the sex industry as regards colonization, because you know more about this than we do, and I would really love to hear your thoughts on it. But I'm also having so much fun talking about like the more far-flung stuff. I don't know if I want to rush you into talking about that or not.
The way sex work and the sex industry, and specifically the porn industry, and even like how that design works, ties still into the capitalistic patriarchal, you know, racist, transphobic, like big mothership. It ties into that because I think one thing that was always very interesting to me is just that the way that the porn industry, at least when I first got into the industry, and even in sex, and even in the other forms of sex work I did, because even in stripping as well, like colonization and racism was rampant, and very normalized in strip clubs as well. But like even in the porn industry also, as far as the different ways that black and brown bodies are treated versus not black and brown bodies, and proximity to whiteness and all of that. Like that is wholly and completely in the porn industry, you know. I am seeing that there are some changes and there are some things happening where like people are starting to call out more things. Like I love that black.com is starting to get like called out on their like really problematic ass shit. But the thing is, when it first came out, everyone was like, wow, this is so beautiful, the aesthetic is so great, and consuming it and still being like, this is we're consuming this whole idea based on this extremely problematic trope of black men and white women and that fuckery that goes back to, you know, colonization and Jim Crow. And Emmett Till was murdered for what? White men thinking that he whistled at a white.
Yeah. Yeah. For anyone listening who doesn't know, black.com it's a porn website. I don't remember when they debuted. It was maybe like sometime in like the 2010s. And won like all the awards because they had really high production values, and you know, all the right cameras and all the right people were involved, and it like Nikki said, it was basically based on, you know, black men with white women, the quote unquote interracial category of porn.
Even the term blacked is problematic because they used that for when a woman slept with a black man, she was ruined. Right. That's what blacked is referring to. You know what I mean? And that is just steeped in all of like the ugly racism like, yeah. I mean, I could probably write a whole book on that, but like, you know,
you should do it.
I'll try. I know I'm trying to get a Patreon together, so like eventually, yes. But no, like even so seeing those things, it was really cool. It was really cool to see how Black porn performers started talking more, specifically in 2020 after, you know, when Black Lives Matter made a resurgence, and after Breonna Taylor, and after George Floyd, and like, you know, seeing other, you know, Black porn performers actually speak and talk more. I know that I, you know, all throughout my career in mainstream industry, I talked about it a lot too. But I think also that like worked at my detriment because, you know, I think the mainstream porn industry, you know, it because it is based, because the system is based where, or it was set up in a way where certain performers made more or had opportunities to make more, because they were maybe white versus, you know, Black versus being Black, like that still creates and shadows those same structures and systems in the real world. You know what I mean? So, and so it's kind of like, what are we changing? And that's the thing. And I think an issue, you know, I think a really big issue that a lot of, you know, white allies have sometimes is like when, you know, when people try to bring awareness to them about like, this doesn't feel right, or this makes me feel devalued, or this is just flat out racist, you know, I feel like I see like the same pattern of just like being really offended and being really fragile and upset about it. However, because they are more so in the position of power, because they more so get the director jobs and all of the things like that, you know, still Black performers will suffer for speaking out and bringing awareness to the thing that is harming them. And so it's been really interesting to me, at least as a sex worker, that you know, still, you know, I'm an independent content creator now, but like, you know, a person that was in the mainstream for a long time, I don't know, kind of like seeing the ways that, you know, those same systems are replicated, even though it's in an industry that still is, you know, I think considered, you know, on the margins a little bit, not in mainstream of like what society maybe believes in, but it still is reflecting those same values, and it still is using those same mechanisms of those things.
And when I started writing about the porn industry as a journalist, and I started noticing these issues, especially around race going on in the industry, I remember being like so confused, because I was like, well, if everyone here is on the margins already, wouldn't you think that like people could stick together and like help each other out? And yet, no. And the thing that I saw happening a lot, it goes right back to what you were saying about like, you know, swimming in the water and not even realizing that it's water. A lot of the justification for horrendously racist terminology that gets replicated and sold in the porn industry, people keep doing it because they say, well, we have to sell it, and if we don't use this term or that term, then the people who want that kind of content won't know how to find it, and, you know, we'll all starve to death. And like, there's a truth to that, where like if you're selling to a particular market, you want those people to be able to find what they want, sure, but that is more of an apology and an excuse for replicating the same water that we're all swimming in, instead of looking for, you know, a way to let some fucking fresh water into the fishbowl in the first place.
Yes, exactly. Yes. And I think that's why another really insidious thing that colonization does is trick people into equating comfort with freedom.
Oh, shit. Yes.
That's not freedom. Comfort is not freedom. Also, like, freedom, not peaceful. Funny, like, you look at someone like Harriet Tubman, like, the whole language of colonization has dressed Harriet Tubman as this one, you know, as this person where it's like, she was a fugitive. White men were looking for her. There was a price on her head, and she risked her life several times breaking slaves out of bondage. And then even in that, on those tours, she would have to sometimes hold guns to those slaves' head because they were scared of they would get scared and want to go back. Do you realize how deep that is? Where, like, so even in the horrors of slavery, but that is a testament to, I think, humans and how that shit can get, like, warped in your brain. You know, comfort isn't always necessarily freedom. It's actually kind of the opposite. But in order for everybody to get free, there needs to be change, and change involves discomfort. Change involves needing to sacrifice some shit. Change involves, like, I think people don't realize they're getting so weighed down, like, they're getting so weighed down by the idea of privilege and having, and you'll be so much lighter if you just gave some of it away.
It also goes back to just, you know, the fear of change. It's so tied in with comfort, you know, even if where you're at is not comfortable, the idea of changing and trying something different is so scary to us that even when we are miserable and living in terrible situations, we are unlikely to want to change that. And one thing that I have noticed a lot in the porn industry over my time as a journalist is that there's this kind of constant, like, apocalypse mindset in the mainstream porn industry, because, like, literally there is always someone out there trying to destroy the industry. Like, there's always some group that's, like, out to get porn, and porn is the worst thing that's ever happened to the world. And I think, like, existing as it does kind of on the fringes and always being hounded by someone, pornographers as a group have come to the conclusion that, like, they literally are, like, at death's door all the time. Like, they're this far away from somebody coming in and taking everything away from them. And then when you add to that the idea that, like, hey, what you're doing is fucked up because you're normalizing terminology that is racist, and you're normalizing within your own industry paying people of color and black people less for the same work, like, that's fucked up.
Putting us in roles that don't center us or represent us. Like, they'll say, like, oh, this is a scene that you're doing, and then when they release it and you see the title, sometimes I'm like, I did not consent to that title, you know, and the title could be problematic as shit.
At one point, I had tried to get our tribe to give universal internet to the people, just to set it up throughout the entire tribe so that everyone has access to knowledge. And the reason why people didn't want it was because somebody might look up porn.
Oh no.
Like, that's something, that's like a way of thinking that, like, totally just held down, like, an entire community from being able to grow and thrive. And it's just, I mean, it's something that needs to be changed.
That's another mechanism of, you know, colonization. Like, it's so interesting to me because I think also in my journey, just in my experiences as a sex worker, while I've had, like, it's a spectrum of experiences I've had, from, like, very, very traumatic, I'm just going to take me some time to unpack what happened, to very, like, I don't know, like, low-key experiences, like low-key spiritual experiences with certain clients and people. And it goes to show that, like, I don't know, like, sex as a thing and an energy is so multifaceted and can be used in such wonderful ways. And, you know, colonization and patriarchy has created a situation where like sex and how sex is consumed is like really fucked up and exploitative